Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Autohrycfix. As you can see, the bumper is not back yet, but I got some updates on that. I'll show you exactly what's going on with the bumper just up here. It's at the body shop right now. It's being re-primered, repainted, and re-cleared. We should have that back in a couple of days. But since then, there was another thing that I noticed that happened when I removed the bumper product from the S2000. When I was removing it, I noticed that there was a little bit of antifreeze just leaking, like it was all humid on the top. And with further inspection, I noticed that the upper tub of the radiator is cracked. Has a little hairline fracture in it, and it was been leaking from there. Some good thing that didn't happen on the road, and that I noticed it when the car was here in the driveway while we were removing the bumper. So I went ahead already and I jacked up the car. I put it on jack stands to be secure. And so today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you guys how to replace a radiator on a 2000 Honda S2000. So let's go, come on. Alright, before we get started, let's go over a few tools and the materials we're going to be needing to do the replacement of the radiator. Very simple. A few tools you're going to need is a pair of nose pliers, preferably an angle, especially on the clamp on the hose on the bottom of the radiator. You're going to need a 10mm socket to remove the upper radiator supports, and from the bolts for the shroud for the radiator fans and the condenser fan. A 12mm socket as well to open up the bleeder when you're going to be refilling the antifreeze into the system. Another good thing would be to have channel lock pliers as well, so you can remove the hose clamps from the radiator. There is, on certain models, there is the temperature sensor. On this vehicle, it is a 24mm socket that we're going to be taking off of this radiator, and we're going to be installing it on the new radiator. So that's a 24mm socket. Like always, a good pair of gloves. We're going to be wearing glass, some protective eyewear, because we'll be working underneath the car as well. You don't want any antifreeze to be splashing in your eyes. Just want to keep you very safe and protected. Also, you will be needing some antifreeze. I went to Honda and I purchased the Type 2 antifreeze. It's already pre-mixed, so you don't have to funnel with all that mixing half with water. You just gotta pour back this antifreeze into the system. I purchased 2 of them just to be safe. And I also have one of these filling tubs. So it's pretty cool. I'll show you later. It installs directly onto the radiator, and you just fill it in, and then you can block it when it gets full. And it also helps with bleeding the system. Of course, we're going to need the radiator. So I went and I purchased a radiator on Amazon. That is a jobber radiator. It did not come with the cap, so I went and I purchased a new cap as well at my local Honda dealership. What I'll do is I'll leave a link to all the materials and all of the tools that you need in the description down below. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to have to remove your air intake box. If you don't remember how to do it, or if you don't know how to do it, you can go back to one of my older videos, the one with the modifying the air intake box. I show you guys exactly how to remove it. Alright, so what we're going to be doing first is we're going to be removing the air intake box. You're going to need a 10mm socket with an extension, because there's about 4 bolts that need to be removed to lift the bottom box out. And then we're going to be removing the clip here and a few hoses. So now that we have the air intake box out of its way, we have so much more room to work. Now what we can do is we can reach down and we can open the drain plug to let all the antifreeze out. First, we were going to put a pan underneath. And we're going to slowly open the radiator cap and open the drain plug. And while that's going, what we can do is we can go ahead and remove our antifreeze reservoir. Just gotta slide it off its bracket. This too, we're gonna clean it up and we're gonna put fresh antifreeze inside. All right, so while that's draining, we're gonna disconnect the terminals for the rad fans. We have one on this side, and we have another one right here. And I'll go ahead and just show you that. So the two connectors for the radiator that you want to disconnect is the one that's on the right side, on the left side here, and on the right side here. One is for the fan and one is for your AC condenser. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the upper hose, and then we're going to remove the lower hose afterwards. This is where your channel lock vice grip pliers come into place. I'm just gonna open that up, slide that back a little bit, turn it so that it pops open, slowly push it back, and we'll fix it here so that it doesn't flop and no antifreeze comes flying towards us. Next thing is the other hose that's down on the bottom. Same thing, just gonna have to jiggle it a little bit so that it comes on undone. Because what happens is the plastic over time heats up and it sticks to the other plastic of the radiator. We're just gonna turn it slowly. We're not gonna remove it completely, we're gonna wait until the radiator is completely full. While that's going, what we can do is we can remove the upper support brackets for the radiator. $10mm socket. Another good reason I'm replacing this radiator is I noticed that one of the supports for the upper on the radiator side of plastics, the pin was broken. So two birds with one stone. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to put it on the side. After a while, you can remove the drain completely and just let it drain out. It'll come out a lot quicker. Here is a look from another angle. As you can see, the drain is just on the bottom there, and it's draining directly into my bucket. Alright, so once the radiator fluid has all drained out, we're going to remove the lower hose. Don't worry, there might still be some antifreeze that might come out because there's quite a bit still inside the block of the engine. We're just going to turn it a little bit. Give it a little bit of a yank, slowly, and pop it out. And like I said, there's still some antifreeze that came out. There you go. Not all of it was out of the radiator. Slide it up. And don't forget to unplug the temperature sensor on the bottom, and I'll show you that in just a second. And voila, one radiator out of the car. Alright, so here we are back in the backyard. The old radiator and the new radiator, which I purchased on Amazon. So what basically we're going to do is we're just going to transfer over our fans onto the new radiator. Very important also, when you're reinstalling the new radiator, to make sure you take your rubber bushings and put them onto the new radiator as well, so that when you place it into the car, it fits directly onto the rad support, so that it doesn't move around and for vibration. One important fact also to check is before installing the new shrouds onto the radiator, just do a visual check just to make sure that the new radiator is exactly or similar as much as possible to your old original radiator. I've already went and everything looks to be good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove the temperature sensor, which is right here. You're going to need a 24mm socket. I'm just going to remove it. Here on the jobber radiator, they have a hole for it, so I removed the plug that they put. Just going to want to transfer it over, clean it up, make sure the gasket is not too worn, and then reinstall it right away. There we go. And I'm going to reinstall it. There you go, nice and tight. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to remove the two shrouds. You're going to need a 10mm socket for the 1, 2, 3 bolts on this side and the 2 that are here on top. Before I go ahead and reinstall it, I'm just going to clean it up with a little bit of multi-cleaner that I have. Alright, so there you have it. We reinstalled our fans onto our radiator, and we have our famous inspector here. He's here to make sure that I'm doing the job properly. Is everything okay, Baker? Good radiator? Again, so you just take the 10mm sockets and we will retighten the fan bolts. You don't want to over tighten it too much. And that's it. There's one thing that I noticed that the new Rad didn't have, that the new Rad had, but that's a personal choice because they usually don't come on the jobber or similar parts. On this side of the radiator, there was a foam here. You guys can see it, a foam right here. That one doesn't have it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I went to my local hardware store. I bought some rubber foam. What I'm going to do is flip this over. I'm going to go ahead and install a strip just right here so that when I reinstall it back on the car, it'll look just like OEM and I won't have any vibration if anything if the radiator hits the Rad support. So it's going to go ahead and slice it in. Alright, so now everything is installed. As you can see, I have my foam that I installed on the top here. It looks OEM. The Rad fans are in. The temperature sensor is in. Make sure my drain plug is closed as well. We're going to go ahead and go back to the car. We're going to reinstall our new Rad. But just before I put the new radiator back in the car, I just want to show you guys exactly where the hairline crack was. It's just right here. It's a common failure in older cars. It's normal. After time, what happens is that the antifreeze and the radiator gets so hot that the plastic just becomes brittle and it cracks. It could have been worse, but again, I'm very lucky and very happy that it happened here at home and I was able to notice it right away. And there's Baker, making sure that I'm doing the job properly. Alright, so now that we have our radiator installed, what we're going to do now is take our funnel kit, the no spill, we're going to install it directly onto the radiator with the adapters that they give you in the kit. What else we're going to do is I'm going to open the bleeder that is right here. We're fortunate enough to have one. It's a 12mm socket. We'll open the bleeder, fill the system, and once it starts to overflow a little bit on the bleeder, close it up and we'll start the car. Alright, so again, the bleeder is just right here, 12mm socket. We're gonna just snap it open. There you go, just a little bit. And then we're gonna take our antifreeze and we're gonna start filling the system. So to refill the system, again, I'm using the Honda Type 2 already pre-mixed antifreeze. Again, you can use whatever mark you'd like to use in your particular vehicle. I'm using this because I'm an OEM fanatic, and yeah, that's the one I'm going to use. And also, the cool thing about it is you don't have to mix it, it's already pre-mixed. So we're just going to open it up. And start filling. So what you can do periodically is just check and make sure that if you don't notice any big leaks, or if you even forget anything in the antifreeze is starting to leak out. So just periodically take a stop and make sure everything is going well. As you can see, it's starting to bubble over there in that section, but we're going to go just a little bit more. There you go. See the air is coming out, and we'll just close it. There you go. Now the cool thing about this, having this refiller tool, is that you can put about a little bit of antifreeze inside and let the car run. And while the car is running, the bubbles will eventually come out as well at the same time. Helps bleed the system a lot faster as well. So now that the bleeder is closed, we'll put maybe about 30 ounces about in there, just to make sure that there's enough in the system. And again, when the thermostat will open, it'll suck some of that antifreeze in anyway. And the cool thing about it is that we can plug it and then we'll be able to refill our reservoir. Now what we're going to do is, before bleeding the system, I'll reinstall the air intake box so that we can start the car, let it idle, let it heat up, make sure there's no leaks, the fans will come on, the thermostat will open, and yeah, make sure the gauge is on the dashboard by the proper temperature. Alright, so now we're in the car. We're going to start it up. Make sure that you're in neutral. Handbrake is up. And so now what you're going to want to do is you're going to let the car heat up. Make sure it doesn't go more than about a quarter, like 3 dots on the temperature gauge. Let it heat up until the fans go on. You'll see that in the reservoir that we have there, it'll bubble up, and you'll see once the thermostat opens, the bubbles will dissipate. You can take it out and put the cap back on. So we're going to go and just let the car heat up for a bit. Another quick tip would be to the heater onto hot, so it opens up the vent so that the coolant circulates throughout the whole system, and turn off your fan and make sure that your AC is not on. Alright, so the car's been running for a few minutes now. What you could also do is you can rev the engine maybe to about 2,000 RPMs to help the coolant heat up. And once the thermostat will open, you'll see a little bit of the antifreeze will go down, and you can stop the car and then put the cap back on. Now we're just waiting for the fans to turn on. And there you have it. So the fan went on. I'm going to let it run just one more time, so one more fan cycle, but as the car is hot enough, so it's turning the fan to turn off quite quickly. And there you have it, both fans are on. And as you can see, the thermostat is open and the level of the antifreeze has gone down. So then we're all good. And I also went to go check the temperature on the inside of the car, and it's at 3 bars, which is perfect for the AP1. For the AP2, if I'm not mistaken, it is between 5 and 6 bars on the dashboard, which is the normal operating temperature. And there you go, have it again. The fan is turned on. So what we're going to do is we're just going to plug it. I'm going to go turn the car off, and at the same time, what I'll do is whatever's left over here, I'm going to put it into the reservoir. And just before closing the hood, we're going to go around and just making sure that there's no leaks. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this. You're going to want to get a few rags because when you open this up, this might spill a little bit. You're going to want to slowly just remove it like so. And then we can place it directly into our reservoir. Remove our adapter. If you want, you could always add a little bit, but what's going to happen is that if there is a miscellaneous in the system, which sometimes there is, in a few days it might go down just a tad, so you might have to refill your overflow reservoir. Alright guys, so there you have it. We replaced the radiator on the Honda S2000. Not too bad. What I'll do is I'll leave all the torque specifications in the description down below, plus all of the different part numbers that I used for the radiator cap and a few other things, and so that when you're ready to change your radiator in your Honda S2000, you'll be ready. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. We don't have the bumper just yet, but don't worry, it should be coming in a few days, and we'll make a video about that, how to reinstall the bumper and get this car back on the road. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye guys.